Ever cried out to God in desperation? I'm sure all of us have at times. Perhaps through this COVID-19 situation, whether you believe in a God or not, you have cried out in desperation to anyone who will listen. I have many times in my life cried out to God in desperation. Sometimes God gives us an answer immediately, and at other times the answer takes place as the journey of desperation continues. One thing I know is that God is always there. He is always listening, even to our weakest prayer, and He acts on our behalf. Sometimes we see those answers immediately, and sometimes later in life. If you're in that situation, then know this: God is for you and He's with you. He won't ever leave you, whether you feel Him there or not. He is surrounding you always. Even if the worst happens, He is there for you. Let me encourage you with a story of a friend of mine who is a very special friend, who is kind of like an adopted daughter. Her name is Amanda. Amanda met Ray and me when she was only a young teenager. She attended a camp where Heartbeat, the band that my husband and I founded in the 80s, was playing. During the week, she not only became a Christian, but she and her sister found a place of acceptance and friendship in our hearts. The sisters told us their life stories. They had the same mother, but different fathers. Their mother had rejected them, and at the time when we met, Amanda had just been taken into foster care by a couple who were Christians. Unfortunately, just after being fostered, the foster dad left his wife, and Amanda had never seen him again. Throughout the years, Ray and I kept in touch with the sisters, and they often came to stay in our home. Amanda, in particular, has always kept in touch. And now, 30 plus years later, I often refer to her as the daughter we never had. We were there when she got married. Amanda has always been a stunningly attractive blonde who has a real heart of gold. Over the years, she had 4 children, but despair came to live in her heart when her husband left her for another woman. Over the years, her heart has been broken again and again. In the early hours one morning when things were very bad, she got up out of her bed and went into the living room. She cried out to God to help her, telling them she really could not go on. She told the Lord, "I really need to see Ray and Nancy. I wish they were here." With tears pouring down her cheeks, she turned on the television and was astonished to find that the very first person she saw on the television screen was me. Suddenly her prayer was answered and I was in her living room. It was a recording of me speaking on God TV, teaching at my spiritual health weekend. As Amanda sat and listened, she knew God had answered her deep cries for help. What I was saying was ministering deep into her heart. Her lounge became an oasis for her as she experienced God, and real hope began to fill her heart again. When despair comes in and floods our minds, remember the creator and author of hope is only a breath away. He is always close to you, so close that you are never far away from his very breath. Never forget the truth that he hears our every cry and he listens to our every prayer. He knows and understands our despair and is actively working to bring his life-giving hope into our lives. Many people who experience despair in their agony turn away from God. But by doing so, they're turning their backs on the only one who can help. Instead of turning away from him, we need to turn towards him and do what Amanda did and cry out for help. The great thing about our amazing God is that, as it says in Romans 8:28, he is able to bring good out of any and every bad situation. Allow the truth of Romans 8:28 to cultivate your hope in your heart.